I don't know why Farouk keeps inviting me to do these things. I think it's an inherent desire to see me get into deeper and deeper trouble. And the thing is, I'm not going to talk about any particular religion because I firmly believe that if I was born a few hundred years ago, I would be tortured by the Spanish Inquisition. I would like to think that my soul would be the same no matter when I was born. So my contention is very simple. I'm not a philosopher. I hated the philosophy of law. I basically plagiarized my way through it. So I'm not very good at it. But I know what I see. And from my perspective, okay, yeah, you can mention the cruelty of secular regimes like Stalin's, like Hitler's, like Pol Pot's. But Israel is based on religious foundations. You know, it's not, they say they're secular, but they're not. Their actions are based on religious convictions. You know, so we can easily point to both sides. You know, so it's not particularly useful. But my feeling is this, my belief is this, my conviction is this. That secularism is something, I mean, and when I say secularism, I mean where the state and religion is separate. So I'm taking that approach of secularism. Not that the state controls the church, but the state and the state is neutral in the sense of where religion is concerned. And I say why secularism is important, because the opposite of secularism is bad for democracy. For the very same reasons that Dr. Zul mentioned. It is so easy to say that I am the voice of God and you must listen to me regardless. And this goes across the board. Yeah, so I'm not talking about Islam. Yeah, let me, since the camera is on me, very clear, in case Jakim is watching this, I am not speaking about Islam. I'm speaking about all religions, right? The temptation to say you must obey me because somehow I am the earthly manifestation of the Lord will always be there. No one can ever accuse me of being the earthly manifestation of anything because I never made that claim, right? And I'm sorry, any religion would you know, if they were having that kind of power, right? It's bad for human rights. It's bad for human rights because one's expression, one's right to express themselves will be curtailed if that expression is seen to be ungodly, or the interpretation of the powers that be. When they say, oh, this is my interpretation of what is godly, you are wrong. And I'm seeing it happening. I'm seeing it happening where not only your freedom of expression is controlled, but right now, your freedom of thought is being controlled. And we are still theoretically a secular state. You know, and you're correct. Anything, you know, Islamic or any other religion, Christianity or Buddhism, does not inherently mean that it is tyrannical. And if you're looking at Islam with you know, a more religious approach to politics, a more religious approach to governance, if Zul was the leader, yeah, sure, I'm sure he'll be fine for 5 years at least. For 5 years, you know, before the temptation gets to you. But, you know, I mean, I remember very clearly, I mean, I had a meeting with Zul, and I said, Zul, you know, if you guys want to go on with this hudud thing, we must debate it. And Zul said, yes, we must. And I believe him, and I believe he believes the same thing now, right? He's a good chap. But his boss... Ex-boss. said, there cannot be any debate. End of story. You know, and this, you could find this repeated time and time again across history. Not in any one faith, but across any sort of system where faith is also part of government. And finally, I think secularism is good, and the opposite of secularism is bad for religion. Ultimately, it's bad when the church and the state, or the mosque and the state, or the synagogue and the state, or the temple and the state are synonymous. It is bad for religion if it controls the faith. Because faith is extremely personal in my point of view, and you must have that freedom to choose your path, even within a particular faith. You know, and even if it means I'm just interpreting something slightly differently to you, you know, where it doesn't make any core differences, but this is just my feeling, this is the way it should be done, and you have a slightly different, I mean, that is your path. And without the freedom to choose your path, any sort of faith is meaningless because it's no longer faith. You know, and that's, for me, that is why there cannot be a state which is also entwined with any sort of religious control. Because ultimately, I think that is anti-faith. It is anti-religion. And those are my non-philosophical thoughts. Thank you very much.